Concrete heads, Owen Blevins, ConcreteAnswers.tv, bringing you the internet's most passionate show about concrete plants and equipment. Today, we're going to hear Bob Cook from Fortrans talk to us about his unique solution to reducing pH. They use CO2. Bob's got it down like nobody's business. It's a lot safer than the acid technology out there and a lot less expensive, so check it out.
I'm Bob Cook with Fortrans Incorporated. We manufacture the 5000S pH control and monitoring system. We're at a ready-mix concrete plant in the Carolinas, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about our Model 5000S pH control system. Basically, we pump water from the basin. This is a rather deep basin, as you can see. It's a submersible pump, pumps the water through this into our treatment loop, which we'll see in a minute, and the discharge comes here and goes back into the basin at a point further down the basin, and the final assembly is such that the water flows parallel to the surface of the water to help with the circulation. And now I'll tell you a little bit about the workings of the system, how it operates. What you're seeing here is a pipe loop. The water comes in this section of the loop, goes around, and it goes through a flow meter, electronic flow meter, which measures in gallons per minute, how many gallons per minute you're treating. And then we have our CO2 infuser that adds CO2 to the water. The CO2 becomes carbonic acid, H2CO3, and reacts with the alkali in the water to drop the pH. We pull a sample from the operating loop through our sample cell. The pH probe reads the pH of the water and reports to a PLC or controller here and reads the pH. If the pH is over 8.25, this PLC will turn on relay A, which I believe you just heard it pop on, and it will feed CO2 until the pH reaches 7.25, at which point it will just pump water until the pH of the basin exceeds 8.25 again. It'll come back on and knock it back down. So you always have, as we saw behind the unit, a large amount of pH adjusted water, which in this case they're pumping out of this basin back up to wash trucks and run irrigation systems. So you basically have a certain amount of pH treated water that can be discharged, that can be used for irrigation or rinsing trucks. One of the really good things about pH adjusted water and the trucks is that the pH adjusted water will not leave scale on your paint finishes on your truck, so they're not as hard to clean.
So Crete heads, you have safety, simplicity, economy, all wrapped up into a nice package in this pH system from Fortrans. You can check out Fortrans at Fortrans.com, of course at Mid-Atlantic Concrete Equipment at MAConcrete.com, and hey, you know we love you at ConcreteAnswers.tv. See ya!
This is Bob Cook with Fortrans. We manufacture the pH control systems, and today we're going to show you how to calibrate the pH probe with the Shark 120 controller that's furnished with our systems. For everyday calibration, the operator simply presses the cal button, calibration, and then hits enter. And once the probe is rinsed in distilled water, placed in buffer 1, which is the yellow pH 7 material, and the order is very important. You always test the pH 7 first. You place your probe in that solution, hit enter again, and then you wait a moment to see what pH reading we're going to have on the controller to see how much we have to adjust it. Okay, we're off just a smidge. It should be reading 7, so we're going to use the up button to make the reading on the controller match the pH of your buffer solution. When we do that, we hit enter, enter again, and it'll ask for buffer 2. Buffer 2 is the pH 4.01 red material that's furnished with the system. So we're going to rinse the probe. Rinsing is very important if accuracy is very important to you. So we're going to hit enter, enter again, and we'll get a reading in shortly. Okay, that should read 4.01 is 3.69, so we're going to adjust the controller to the actual pH of the buffer, 4.01. We will hit enter and enter again, and the EFF stands for efficiency. It's 107%. Very good, and it has reverted now to just run operation. So we'll rinse the probe and put it in buffer 7. You see the numbers climbing. And it's 6.98, which is well within the parameters that we operate under. As long as we're within 1/10 of a point, we're fine. We're within 2 100ths, or it's going to flash back and forth, 2 to 3 100ths, and that is acceptable for our system.
Great heads. Owen Blevins, ConcreteAnswers.tv, bringing you the internet's most passionate show about concrete plants and equipment. Job site washout, hottest topic on the planet right now. California, New York City, possibly Jersey. This stuff's pretty hot, and it's falling back on the shoulders of the concrete producer. So you got to know what you're doing here. We've got a product called the Washout Watchdog. I want you to learn a little about it in the video. It's all gravity. You know what I love about all gravity? Gravity doesn't break. So check this video out.
This is Les Conard with the Washout Watchdog, and we're here at the World of Concrete 2012, and I want to show you a little bit about my product. What I have is a gravity-fed chute washout system that attaches to each truck that you use once you've washed out, once it's time to wash out the truck. So my gravity-fed washout system is something that you use when it's time to wash out your truck on a job site. Right here is the rack that contains our bucket, and this is mounted on the side of the truck. Once you get done unloading your concrete and it's time to rinse down your chutes, you can use a scraper, scrape everything out of the chute, and then attach this bucket to the chute. So I'm going to lay this bucket aside. This bucket is now attached to the chute of a concrete truck. What I like to do, it's a very, very fast system. Because I have a valve on my bucket, you're not going to have to put a hose on until it's time to drain. So we're going to rinse down our chutes. If I have more than one chute on, I'm going to just put my bucket on the ground, keep my valve closed, rinse the 3 or 4 chutes that you've got on there, hang them up, and then bring this to the flop over, so it's a very fast situation. I don't have my hose hooked up yet. I'm going to wash all around behind my hula skirt, get everything clean before I go upstairs. I'm going to hook up my hose, open my valve, and lift my chute up to the highest position so that the water can drain into a tank that's attached to the truck. I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to wash down my fins, I'm going to wash everything from the unloading hopper, and when I get back, this bucket's going to be totally drained. I'm going to tilt it till the last little bit of water comes out, shut off my valve, unhook my hose, take my bucket off, put it back in the rack, and I'm done and ready to go down the road. Very fast process. We have a number of different types of tanks for different kinds of trucks. So we have some pictures here that might show you that. The top picture here is called a platform tank. So they really don't have any room behind their fenders, but they have room on that. So this is a flat tank that sits there. This one happens to be on Lafarge up in Canada, up in Fort McMurray. And it's insulated so that the water doesn't freeze. And so that's a holding tank. You can see the 90 degree up on top, the valve. and those plugs will allow any sediment that gets built up in there to take it. Down below is what we call a fender tank, and that tank has actually got a rack that holds up the fender. So we take off a portion of the fender, put our tank in that area if it's kind of tight. Again, you can see by the bucket that the bucket's higher than the tank, the water goes right in. Over here's another configuration. This one right here is called our flat tank, 9-legged tank, and it lays right on top of a fender, very easy to put on. Again, you see the inlet on top and the valve on the bottom, little clean out on the right, and you can see the whole situation there is if the bucket's higher than the tank, it drains, and it's drained by the time you get down. You can also see in the picture about an inch of aggregate that was left in that. When you get back to the plant, you're going to have water in the tank, and you might have aggregate in the bucket. As you can see by the bucket, we have a screen inside. So what happens with this is the rock and sand's going to stay here. This shield makes sure that when you're washing, all the water gets inside the bucket. When they get back to the plant, our suggestion, you can see that this rack is designed that the driver walks it in and out. He's going to have some aggregate left in his bucket when he gets back. What we suggest is that he loads and prepares for the next round of concrete. He's going to go to an area that you wash out the truck. It's a perfect area to get rid of this waste because you have a pit at that place. So you're going to come and leave this laying inside the rack, and you're going to hit it with a hose, and all the aggregate is going to come out, and they're going to put that in the pit. And before he goes upstairs to clean his unloading hopper, he's simply going to open the valve, go upstairs, set his load, clean his unloading hopper, come back down, shut off the valve, open this up, get out any debris, hit it with a hose, and it's ready to go for next round. And that's pretty much our product. It's very simple. A couple of things. Our tanks are insulated, so it's like having an ice chest on the truck. We've had them up in Edmonton for a couple of years, and they're working great. The water comes back as water, not frozen. Our buckets are very, very durable and made to last. They're designed with driver safety in mind. Come out, hold it tight to the body. Again, a handle here. If they wanted to empty the aggregates, then it's a system like that. But what I like most about it is I drove for 20 years, and I wanted to make sure that two things, that nothing leaked out, so I have a valve on it, and that when I carry the bucket, it's right at the right height, and when I put it in the rack, it's at the right height, so that we don't have any driver injuries as they're using our product.
Creed heads, awesome piece of machinery. Les, thanks for a great demo on the Washout Watchdog. If you guys want to learn more about the Washout Watchdog, go to washoutwatchdog.com or check it out at our website at maconcrete.com. And of course, you know we love you at concreteanswers.tv. See ya.